Hello everyone and welcome back to some more internet spaceships, although in this video not quite so much spaceships. So we all like to look good, and this is going to be a primer on how to get the Palatino armor set in 4.4, even though 4.5 is technically just around the corner. So the Palatino armor, in my opinion, is one of the best looking sets they've done. I think it is my new favourite armor set in game because it's made by Tech, and Tech is the vendor in the game's lore that gave us the Artemex suits, and the Artemex suits are still one of my favourite sets in game. This is the base variant. Of course you can get all kinds of different ones now. There's the subscriber ones, the white looking one, I think it's Canuto, it's probably still my favourite one. There's the Hurston Security one as well, and now we have this heavy armor set from them, which is the Palatino armor. So if you want to get the Palatino armor, of course you could have just bought the Deadlock bundle, and at the time of me making this, I think for another day or two you can still buy it because of the IAE finale this year where they've released all the previous patch bundles. The Deadlock bundle is in there. Not going to judge anyone for that. This armor set looks awesome even in this colour set from this Deadlock bundle, and I bought it as well, as did many of my org people. It's a cool looking set. However, this is the main Palatino armor, and this is lootable from the distribution centres, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty of it in a second. This is the bundle from Wicklow, which you can collect if you get the full armor set from the distro centres, and then you turn in 10 Yormandi tongues and 20 Yormandi eyes. So you have to go and fight the Yormandi a lot. But again, I love this set. The crash test dummy set is very applicable for me, doing silly things with all my org people. Absolutely love it. One of my favourite sets in game. So moving straight to it, because I said I don't want to witter on too long. The distribution centres. In the last build, so the last patch, we could only get this armour set at the what you would call the hostile distribution centres, and it was bugged to all hell. Mr. Kraken has a fantastic guide explaining how this was so broken it wasn't even funny. That the loot boxes could spawn as soon as the server spooled up, but basically as soon as someone touched that box it despawned, and then another one didn't respawn in its place because there was crates spawning on top of crates. There's so many spawn places for these boxes to appear that these armor sets spawn in. It's ridiculous. It's still the case and we still get some of the overlap. However, now in 4.4, and hopefully they won't change it for 4.5, all of the distribution centres in the game spawn the armor sets, so it doesn't matter if they're hostile or if they're neutral, whatever. You go to a distribution centre, odds are you may see one of these boxes kicking around somewhere, which is great because it dilutes the need to go to somewhere like Grey Cat on Microtech or Dupree, God forbid Dupree on Hurston, which is just normally a war zone anyway, to go and find these armor sets. But yeah, now they spawn at all of the distribution centres, so I'm going to give you a bit of a primer on how to find some of them and make it a little bit easy for yourself if you are chasing this armour set, because I was chasing this armour set for a long time. A lot of people in my org are chasing this armour set for a long time. There isn't really many guides showing how to do it on many maps, so I thought, sod it, I'll do it myself. Right, distribution centres. They are all identical except for the interior. I think Dupree has what's called the staging area inside, and you can sometimes find boxes in there as well, but aside from that the rest of them are pretty much mirrors of each other, and they have a cargo like internal area, and then they have a staging point, like a storehouse, sorry, in the other ones. They have an east side and a west side. Both of these again are mirrored. So I will take you around and I'll fly around and I'll show you where some of these boxes spawn. It's not too hard once you kind of memorized it and you've got some of these and anything, but I'll point out some spots and make it a little bit easier for you. So we'll take a flight and then I'll show you some of the ones I found. Right, we're here at Covalex on Microtech, so this is one of the neutral ones. As you can see, if I ping, we've got a few ships here, including a Polaris, quite strangely, so we might not find anything. But I'm going to do a run and show you how I look for some of these boxes and point out some of the obvious spots. Now, thing to mention here is that everywhere where one of these loot boxes, not necessarily the orange ones, spawn, is the potential for a loot box to spawn, so an orange loot box, which I'll put clips in of, I'm sure. So you can see there's one on the shelf racking there in the middle of the screen. Yeah, they spawn all over the place here. I tend to fly around here while landing gear down because I fly with mouse and keyboard, as I'm sure you'll be able to tell, and my Raven does like to just yeet itself into places when I hit accelerate for some strange reason. Anyway, So you can sometimes find some around the top of this building here, on the very end where the ramp leads up into the pointy end of one of the wings. You can also find them on the racking here. You can find them on containers. As you can see, there's a medical crate on top of the container there. I can't see anything else significant. I have seen boxes spawn on top of the roofs. You can see there's a box there, so there's the potential for them to spawn, but I haven't seen them on the roofs. There's one of those flat ones there that sometimes contain weapons in them. I will also say these flat ones, the long flat ones, that have ammo markings on them, and the thick ones that have ammo markings on them, so they've got like 3 bullets on the side, they are well worth your time to go and look around in if you just like loot goblining, because they more often than not have very rare weapons or armour in them. I found several of the executive weapons, so I found executive gallants, executive P8SCs. I have found arrowhead rifles, so the executive arrowhead rifles. There's another loot box. There's one of the thick boxes there on top of that crate. So all these containers here have the potential to spawn these orange boxes on it. In fact, between these two like overlying pylon hangers, on top of these crates, I found more boxes often than not on top of these. So normally on the highest ones, so these ones here and these two here, they have the potential to spawn inside the little room there as well, in the middle area. They have the potential to spawn on these little generators and all around this area here. Let's keep moving along, because obviously there isn't one here. We may find one, we may not. I'm just trying to give you a little run through. Moving along this side, again, generators. They can spawn on top of these areas here. They can spawn in the racking. Nothing obvious from a first look. Spin round again, check all these containers. As I said, they can spawn on the containers. You can see they're on the hiding down the side of the building there. It's one of those thin containers. Moving up to where the entrances are, have a quick scan of these containers, see if we can see any. Nothing from the outset. They can be very sneaky. One of my org members put me onto this little area here where these tanks are. We've seen them spawn inside these little tanks, hiding in the gap there. Moving along. Nothing too obvious sticking out. It's good to just check the whole area, but containers are the main spawn points that I found them on around here, because people tend to miss them unless they're flying around and they're on the ground and they're just looking up. In this little area here, I've often found them underneath these sets of stairs, where all these yellow tanks are. They can spawn inside and around these yellow tanks. I haven't found one yet. I found a white box that had a piece in when the patch went live, but I think it was a bug that it was in a white box, and CIG have since fixed that. Again, you can see armor boxes on these catwalks here. They can spawn on the roofs of these catwalks. We'll do a little orbit and just check. Nothing too obvious there. They can spawn underneath this big vat here, so this giant yellow vat, and again they can spawn anywhere around these tanks here and on the catwalks. They can also be very sneaky, and I'll see if I can get low with my Raven here, though it's quite big. They can be very sneaky and even spawn on this little roof area here, this overhang, hiding around in here. Nothing there immediately though. And I'll check on the catwalk again on going across the bridge, and nothing though. As you can see, there are boxes everywhere, and any of these boxes has the potential to be one of the orange ones. So none on this side. We'll go across to the other wing. As I said, there's a lot of ships here, so this place may have been picked clean already. And it's a case of just waiting for things to respawn. In fact, there's already a player looking there. Look, see? I am not the only one searching, but I'm being smart about it and doing it from the air. Nothing on any of the catwalks. No, nothing that stands out to me anyway. I'll check down here again under this set of stairs. Nothing immediate. Again, sweeping all the containers. There's one of those boxes on top of the containers there, but not an orange one. Let's see if there's something in between these little vats here. Not this time. So we move back down to the main wing area where there's a Zeus parked, so I imagine someone's been searching around here already. Nothing there. Make sure we check these generators. We're going to have a quick scan of the roofs as well. And as I said before, the main area where I've had a lot of luck, you can see there's lots of boxes on top of these containers. None of them, sadly, are orange. Check around here again. Nothing there. Oh, hello! There we go. You see, there's one right on top of that crane there. So let's settle down and go and grab it. Or I'll just destroy my Raven because I forgot my landing gear was already down. Oh, I tapped N by mistake, and then as soon as I tapped it, I realised I'd screwed up. Never mind. Oh, and now my Raven's fallen on top of me. Again, this game is determined not to let me get loot. I'm leaving this in the video, by the way. That was hilarious. So, we're just got to get on top of this crane here. Easy to do, it's just a little parkour puzzle. So, just jump up here. He said. There we go. I think we'll go all the way just to be sure. There we go, we're on the crane, and here's our orange box. Looks like someone might have already dipped into it. Oh no, there we go. So we've got an Arrowhead Pathfinder sniper rifle, so that's a subscriber sniper rifle, and we found one of the helmets. Easy peasy. So it's just a case of looking. Oh hello Zeus pilot, sorry mate, I've beaten you to it. We'll jump off over the edge here. And nice and easy. I'll just have a quick last scan when you're on the ground, and maybe we'll find one or two of the other armor boxes as well, and then I'll have a quick look inside and show you some of the inside area. I'm not going to go all the way and go to Dupree and show you the inside of the area there, because that means running around and lots of combat, and yeah, just a giant mess. But as you can see now, we are at a Kovalex centre. These are neutral, they're not hostile, the NPCs aren't shooting and running away, and we can indeed loot everything around here, and we have found an orange box, which does confirm these loot crates, or these loot boxes, now spawn out the neutral territory ones, not just the hello again Zeus, not just the hostile ones like Dupree. So nothing on top of these, nothing on top of that. I don't see anything immediately over there, so instead we will head inside. Let's have a look here. Nothing exciting in that one. So as you run around, you'll see lots of these boxes, like I said. Many of them it's just tat inside, but sometimes, as I've said before, you can find some very, very rare loot pieces inside of them. Normally, more often than not, these ones. Nothing good exciting in them. In this one. There's our orange box again. I'm going to have to get down safely. But yeah, like I said, lots of armor pieces, lots of special guns. I found Wickelow's railgun here. So the I think it's like the quite useful railgun it's called, literally quite useful railgun. I've managed to find that in one of these boxes here, so it's like the cool Wickelow white one. Lots and lots of things to be found. What else can I show you? Oh yeah, sometimes they can spawn underneath these gantries here. I haven't seen one, but I know for a fact that they spawn here. I've seen pictures of them spawning underneath these gantries. Let's see if we can drop down. So, along these and underneath here. Hard to spot these from the air, but I haven't seen one myself here. Right, I'll make a cut here, and then I'll resume once I'm inside the centre. Right, we're at the doorway. We've already looked around the containers from the air, so we don't need to worry about that. As you can see, we're at the east entrance. Just like around outside, there are so many positions and places for these boxes that have the possibility to spawn inside. I'm just going to show you a couple of the ones I know where they have spawned. Like I said, at Dupree there is a, I think it's called the staging area, as opposed to a storehouse, which I'll show you. So let's run in. Dupree, by the way, if you do go there, the NPCs at the minute, as I'm sure many of you, if you're playing, are aware, the NPCs are cracked when it comes to FPS combat, so it's very, very dangerous. At least, you know, maybe bring a medical vehicle to res yourself or heal yourself, because you do get into lots of firefights at places like that. Right. The potential then is you have the inventory centre, which is one of the main areas, but you also have the storehouse. This is not the storehouse at Dupree, it's called the staging area, and you can see there's a little catwalk up there. When you enter Dupree, there's a staircase that you've got the left hand side here, and you can walk on a gantry, and sometimes there's a box up there that I've found. In here, at least checking when I've been doing this, I have yet to see an orange box in the storehouse, but that's because it's inside and all the players tend to run around inside and check the boxes. As you can see, there's plenty of loot boxes around the back area here, all probably untouched, but they don't have much in them. Those singular, like, little green boxes don't tend to have a lot in them a lot of the time. Our main point of interest is the inventory centre. So when we go into the inventory centre, it has two exits and entrance either side, so you can get into it from either wing because it extends all the way through. Again, the potential for loot boxes is crazy. As you can see, there's just boxes absolutely everywhere, but I have yet to see one just spawn randomly inside here. Our main point of interest is this centre spoke, so to speak. So you can see where these big turbines are. You can run along here, normally it's near the door, and you can drop down into this little sort of air ducting gully. And then as you run along this gully, you'll see these areas here. So in here, there's one either side, so there's one the other side of the room. I've found some orange boxes quite a lot, and sometimes there may be in there. I haven't found one in the centre area yet. If we just run around this side, and nothing, all these doors are open, so somebody's been down here already and swept this. So I imagine if there was one down here, it's already been looted. And again, seeing nothing in here. So, bupkis in that regard, and then you can just jump back out the same way you could do. Moving to another area in the inventory centre where I've seen boxes spawn is at the back of it, from the area where you go in, is these containers here. Sometimes there's boxes here that I've found. I've actually found an orange one. I've seen one spawn on that area there, and I've seen one spawn on the ground here. When the patch went live, I found a white box on top of this container here, and it had a set of the arms in. But again, I think CIG fixed that, so it spawned the orange boxes a day or two later. So, yeah, nothing to shout about. Again, lots of loot boxes. The potential is there. It's just luck of the draw and being in the right place at the right time. We will go upstairs, and I will show you the last place, which would have been easier if I hadn't exploded my Saber Raven, but instead we're going to have to run there. So, I suppose it's easier to show you if we're inside anyway. What you want to do is look for the red staircase behind us, going up the inventory centre. Again, you can see boxes everywhere. I've never found any in the security area. I imagine the potential is there, not seen any. Punch the lifts. We go to the lobby. And then you go to the lobby. Again, the potential for them to spawn in these areas is there. I have never seen them. I've seen spawn boxes like this here. Anything good? There's a combat knife if you want a combat knife. Again, look at the draw, but I've never seen an orange box spawn in these rooms personally. You can check. As I said, if you're going to be a loot goblin, it's well worth your time too. You can go into the ducting systems here if you want to, but I would advise against it just straight away if you're running along here. Instead, make a beeline for the back of the executive area. And we want to go out to the landing pads. Again, doors are open, so I'm guessing someone's already been out here. Of course, if I was in my Raven, I could have just landed up here, but I was an idiot and crashed it. And then, either side of the landing pads, close to the side of the building, you'll see this generator, and you'll also see this air vent. It's a bit botched for some reason because of the terrain mesh. If we go inside, you will normally find a box somewhere in here. They may not be the orange ones, of course. They may be the decent loot ones, or you'll see that someone's already been chucking stuff here because there's a pen. So, but yeah, under this pipe here, I've found quite a lot of executive weapons and rare stuff. And then in this area here as well, there's often sometimes a box. When you're in here, you can slip into the central area underneath. And whilst there are tons and tons and tons of loot boxes down here, again, I found executive weapons and things and cool armor pieces that I've not seen before, like lots of random Morozov sets. But I've not seen any of the orange boxes spawn in this area. Feel free to comment down below if you have. Again, I think it's all just luck of the draw and being in the right place at the right time, as we were for the one we found on the crane thing there. It's like a giant scissor lift, isn't it? Here's one of the high boxes. See if we can find anything there. No? Nice scope. So you'll find lots of scopes, everything from those Deadfall ones which belong on the, I think it's the Prism shotguns, isn't it? To lots of low light scopes absolutely everywhere in these boxes, and 16 times bearing scopes, so the really useful 16 times sniper rifle scopes that have the rangefinder built into them. Yeah, there's just tons and tons and tons of stuff to be had. I'll just look in this one just to show you. These ones don't tend to have a lot of good stuff in them. They're the kind of junk ones. But yeah, that's a quick run through of running a distribution centre and not crashing your ship like I did, because I was a fool. Rip Raven. I've got to go and claim it again. Just to finish up then, because this is getting quite lengthy, I'm just going to show a couple of highlights of me finding some of the other crates around. As you can see, more container ones with somebody look like they tried to get that on their Hornet, missed and failed, because as I open it I find the helmet. And then I've got another one here just of me searching inside and finding a chest piece. Again, it's on top of the containers. They're a good hit spot, as I said as I was taking you through my guide. But yeah, there we go. I hope this is going to be useful for you. Like I said, I hadn't seen a guide for these, and I figured that it would be useful to try and put something together just to help people get these, because I know these are a sought after set, especially if you find the Necropolis one, and somebody is probably willing to buy it from you, right, for like 50 billion AUEC on UEX, if you've got that kind of money. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for watching everyone, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please give the video a like and please subscribe if you fancy sticking around. If you're new to the game or haven't made an account yet, you can use the referral code on screen, also in the video description, to give yourself some in-game credits and give me a little boost as well. See you in the next one.